Let me tell you something most people don't understand. Right before God changes your life, it usually feels like nothing is happening. The prayers feel unanswered, the doors look closed, the silence feels loud, and that's when doubt tries to move in. But hear me clearly, God doesn't delay randomly. He delays intentionally, because while you're asking him to change your situation, he's working to change you. You see, miracles don't just appear, they are prepared. Heaven is aligning connections. Character is being developed, capacity is being expanded, and what feels like waiting is actually divine setup. So stop asking, how long, and start asking, who am I becoming in this season? Because the moment your mindset catches up to your miracle, acceleration begins. Stay with me. What God does right before your breakthrough will change how you see every delay. Let me talk to you for a moment about delay, because most people misunderstand what delay really is. They think delay means denial. They think if it hasn't happened yet, it's not going to happen. They think if God hasn't moved by now, he's forgotten them. But hear me clearly, delay is not denial. Delay is divine preparation. You see, whenever God is getting ready to do something significant in your life, he never rushes the process. He works in stages, he works in seasons, he works in layers. While you're watching the calendar, God is working the character. While you're counting days, God is building capacity. While you're asking how long, heaven is asking, are you ready? Because the truth is, what you're praying for requires a version of you that doesn't exist yet. Most people want the promise without the preparation. They want the breakthrough without the building. They want the blessing without becoming the person who can sustain it. But God loves you too much to give you something that would crush you if you received it too early. That's why the waiting feels uncomfortable. That's why the process feels slow. That's why it seems like everyone else is moving forward while you're standing still. You're not standing still. You're being formed. Let me say it another way. If God answered some prayers immediately, they would become problems instead of miracles. The money would leave as fast as it arrived. The opportunity would overwhelm you. The platform would expose you. The relationship would break you. So God steps in and says, not yet, let me prepare you. While you're waiting, God is aligning people you haven't met yet. He's arranging conversations you don't even know are coming. He's shifting circumstances behind the scenes. He's closing doors that would distract you and opening paths you can't see yet. You think nothing is happening because you don't see movement. But preparation is invisible before it becomes visible. Think about it. A farmer doesn't plant a seed today and harvest tomorrow. First, the ground has to be broken, then the seed has to be buried, then it has to sit in darkness. And for a while, it looks like nothing is happening. But underground, something powerful is taking place. Roots are forming. Strength is developing. Life is being established. And when it finally breaks through the surface, it looks sudden. But it wasn't sudden. It was prepared. That's how your miracle works. What feels like burial is actually planting. What feels like silence is actually growth. What feels like delay is actually development. And here's something else you need to understand. God is not just preparing the blessing, he's preparing you to steward it. Because if you can't manage what you have now, you won't manage more later. If you can't be faithful in the small season, you won't be stable in the big season. So God starts working on your habits. He starts working on your mindset. He starts working on your discipline. He starts working on your faith. That's why this season feels stretching. That's why you're being challenged emotionally. That's why you're learning patience. That's why old versions of you are being stripped away. God is upgrading you from the inside out. Some of you are frustrated because you thought you were waiting on God, but the truth is, God has been waiting on you to grow. Waiting teaches you gratitude. Waiting teaches you humility. Waiting teaches you consistency. Waiting teaches you how to trust without evidence. And those lessons are necessary because where God is taking you, you won't survive with the mindset you have right now. You keep asking for the breakthrough, but God is building the backbone. You keep asking for open doors, but God is strengthening your walk. You keep asking for more, and God is shaping who who you are becoming. So don't despise the delay. Don't waste the waiting. Don't let frustration steal your faith. This is not a punishment season. This is a preparation season. Heaven is not ignoring you. Heaven is investing in you. And if you stay faithful in this process, if you keep speaking life while you wait, if you keep showing up even when it's hard, if you keep praising when nothing looks different, one day you're going to look back and realize that the delay was actually the setup. Because when God finally releases what he promised, you won't just receive it, you'll be ready for it. Delay is not denial, it's divine preparation. And what's being prepared for you right now is bigger than what you've been asking for. Let me speak to you about silence, because silence is the part of the journey that confuses people the most. You can handle struggle, you can handle pressure, you can even handle opposition, but silence makes you question everything. Silence makes you wonder if God still hears you. Silence makes you replay your prayers in your mind and ask yourself if you said something wrong, if you waited too long, or if you somehow missed your moment. But hear me clearly. Silence is often strategy. Just because you don't hear God speaking doesn't mean God stopped working. Heaven doesn't go quiet because it ran out of power. Heaven goes quiet because something important is being arranged. Some of God's greatest moves happen when he says the least. Think about it. Every significant transformation in your life happens in quiet places. Seeds grow in silence. Muscles are built in silence. Wisdom is developed in silence. Even creation itself began in stillness before the word went forth. Noise makes you feel productive, but silence is where formation happens. You see, when God is loud, he's giving direction. When God is silent, he's building depth. Most people think God speaks to inform them, but many times God goes silent to transform them. Because if he explained everything, you wouldn't develop faith. If he showed you every step, you wouldn't learn trust. If he answered immediately, you wouldn't grow endurance. So instead, he allows seasons where you have to walk by conviction instead of confirmation. That quiet season is not abandonment. It's invitation. It's an invitation to mature. It's an invitation to lean in. It's an invitation to stop depending on feelings and start standing on truth. Because faith isn't proven when you hear God clearly. Faith is proven when you don't. Some of you are waiting to feel motivated again. Some of you are waiting for a sign. Some of you are waiting for a voice. But God is waiting for obedience. He's waiting to see if you'll keep moving even when it's uncomfortable. He's waiting to see if you'll keep showing up even when there's no applause. He's waiting to see if you'll keep trusting when there's no evidence. Silence exposes what's really in you. When everything is loud and exciting, anybody can praise. Anybody can stay positive when doors are opening and blessings are visible. But when it gets quiet, when nothing seems to change, when prayers feel unanswered, that's when your character shows up. That's when your discipline matters. That's when your faith becomes real. Let me tell you something powerful. God often goes silent right before he shifts something major, because he doesn't need your permission to move. He doesn't need your understanding to perform. He just needs your alignment. Behind the scenes, while you're wondering what's happening, God is rearranging environments. He's removing distractions. He's disconnecting you from people who can't go where you're headed. He's positioning opportunities. He's strengthening you internally so that when the moment arrives, you won't collapse under the weight of it. You call it silence. God calls it setup. And here's what most people miss. Silence is also where your hearing gets sharper. When everything is loud, you can't tell what really matters. But when God quiets your surroundings, you start noticing things you ignored before. You start seeing patterns. You start recognizing habits. You start becoming aware of areas that need healing. Silence reveals, refines, and realigns. Some of you are discovering yourself in this season. You're realizing who really supports you. You're learning what actually matters. You're becoming aware of strengths you didn't know you had. That's not by accident. That's the strategy, because God is not just preparing your miracle. He's preparing your mindset. If God answered everything immediately, you would never never develop spiritual muscles. You would never learn to persist. You would never know how strong you really are. So he allows the quiet. He allows the space. He allows the tension. And in that space, you're being upgraded. So don't quit in the silence. Don't change your confession in the quiet. Don't walk away just because it feels lonely right now. Stay consistent. Stay grateful. Stay faithful. Keep praying even when you don't feel it. Keep believing even when you don't see it. Keep moving even when it's slow, because silence doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means something big is being prepared. And when God finally speaks again through open doors, answered prayers, and sudden breakthroughs, you're going to realize the quiet season wasn't empty. It was essential. Silence is strategy, and your breakthrough is closer than it feels. Let me tell you something most people don't like to hear, but everybody needs to understand. Pressure always shows up before promotion. Resistance always appears before elevation. There is no such thing as a breakthrough without tension. If you're feeling squeezed right now, stretched right now, challenged right now, that's not a sign that you're losing. That's a sign that you're being positioned. Because pressure doesn't come to destroy you. Pressure comes to develop you. You don't get stronger by avoiding resistance. Muscles grow by pushing against weight. Diamonds are formed under extreme pressure. Airplanes take off by pushing against gravity. Everything that rises has to overcome something first, and your life is no different. Every new level demands a new version of you. Some of you are wondering why things suddenly got harder, why the opposition increased, why the obstacles showed up out of nowhere, why relationships feel strained, why finances feel tight, why your emotions feel stretched. Let me help you understand what's happening. You're getting close to something greater, because whenever you're about to step into a higher season, the pressure increases. Think about it. Before a promotion, there's usually more responsibility. Before success, there's usually more stress. Before growth, there's usually discomfort. Before clarity, there's usually confusion. Pressure is the doorway to promotion, and most people turn back right at the entrance. They quit because it feels heavy. They retreat because it feels uncomfortable. They stop because they expected it to be easier by now. But ease is not the evidence of progress. Pressure is. You don't build endurance in comfort. You build endurance in challenge. You don't discover your capacity in calm seasons. You discover it in difficult ones. That's why this moment matters. This season is revealing what you're made of. And let me say this, pressure exposes what's inside you. When everything is smooth, you can hide weaknesses. But when life applies pressure, whatever is really in you comes out. Faith shows up, fear shows up, discipline shows up, doubt shows up. That's not to shame you. That's to show you what God is refining. Because God doesn't promote what he hasn't first prepared. Some of you are being trained right now to handle more influence, more income, more responsibility, more visibility. But if God gave you the promotion without the pressure, you wouldn't be able to sustain it. So he allows resistance to stretch your capacity. That's why you're learning how to manage stress. That's why you're learning how to control your emotions. That's why you're learning how to stay focused when distractions are everywhere. That's why you're learning how to keep moving when you're tired. These are not random lessons. These are promotion prerequisites. Let me make it practical. Before David wore a crown, he fought lions and bears. Before Joseph stood in a palace, he sat in a prison. Before Moses led a nation, he wandered in the wilderness. Before Jesus stepped into purpose, he faced temptation. Pressure always comes before position. So if you're in a season where you feel tested, stretched, or misunderstood, don't take it personally. Take it seriously. Something in you is being upgraded. And here's what you must remember when the pressure hits. Don't change who you are just because the season is uncomfortable. Stay disciplined, stay humble, stay teachable, stay grateful. Don't let pressure make you bitter. Don't let resistance make you reactive. Don't let challenges make you careless. This is the moment to tighten your standards, not lower them, because promotion doesn't come to people who complain through pressure. It comes to people who grow through it. You don't graduate from this season by escaping it. You graduate by mastering it. So instead of asking, why is this so hard? Start asking, what is this teaching me? Instead of focusing on what's against you, focus on what's being built within you. Instead of trying to avoid the pressure, learn how to rise inside it. You are stronger than you think. You are more capable than you feel. You have more resilience than you realize. And this season is proving it. Pressure is not punishment. Pressure is preparation. You're not being crushed. You're being shaped. You're not being delayed. You're being developed. And if you stay faithful in this moment, if you keep showing up, if you keep believing when it's uncomfortable, this pressure will turn into promotion, because what you survive, you're being qualified for. And what you're walking through right now is preparing you for where you're going next. Let me talk to you about something that doesn't get enough attention, but it determines everything: your response. Not your circumstances, not your background, not what people did to you, your response. Because life doesn't move based on what happens to you. Life moves based on how you answer what happens to you. You don't control every situation, but you always control your reaction. Most people think their breakthrough is delayed because of external factors. They blame the economy, they blame people, they blame timing, they blame the system. But more often than not, progress is being held hostage by perspective. It's not what you're facing that's slowing you down, it's how you're facing it. Complaining feels natural, but it keeps you stuck. Gratitude feels intentional, and it moves you forward. You see, complaining magnifies problems. Gratitude magnifies possibilities. Complaining reminds you of what's missing. Gratitude reminds you of what's working. Complaining drains energy. Gratitude creates momentum. That's why two people can be in the same situation and get completely different results. One focuses on the obstacle, the other focuses on the opportunity. Your response determines your results. Some of you are waiting for things to change before you change your attitude, but transformation doesn't work that way. You change first, then things shift. You don't wait for motivation to act. You act and motivation follows. You don't wait for confidence to show up. You move and confidence develops. Faith is not passive. Faith is responsive. Every season is asking something of you. Hard seasons ask for endurance. Quiet seasons ask for consistency. Uncertain seasons ask for trust. And breakthrough seasons ask for boldness. The question is not what season you're in. The question is how you're responding to it. Because the same pressure that breaks one person builds another. One person gets discouraged. Another gets disciplined. One person quits. Another person adapts. One person becomes bitter. Another becomes better. The difference isn't the situation. The difference is the response. Let me tell you something powerful. Heaven moves when you move, not when you complain, not when you wait passively, when you move in faith. That's why gratitude matters so much. Gratitude is faith in action. Gratitude says, I trust God even when I don't see the full picture. Gratitude keeps your heart open. Gratitude keeps your spirit aligned. Gratitude reminds you that delay doesn't cancel destiny. And here's the part most people overlook. Your words are part of your response. What you say while you wait matters. If you keep declaring defeat, you train your mind to expect failure. If you keep speaking fear, you feed anxiety. But when you speak life, you activate hope. When you speak faith, you strengthen courage. When you speak gratitude, you create peace. Your mouth is either opening doors or closing them. You don't have to deny reality, but you do have to choose your narrative. Stop rehearsing what's wrong and start reinforcing what's possible. Stop repeating the problem and start declaring the promise. Stop telling yourself how hard it is and start reminding yourself how far you've come. Your response sets the direction of your life. And let me say this, obedience in small things accelerates big outcomes. Showing up when it's inconvenient. Being consistent when results are slow, staying disciplined when nobody's watching. These little responses compound over time. Most breakthroughs don't arrive suddenly. They arrive gradually, disguised as daily decisions. People think success is about one big moment. It's not. It's about thousands of small choices made correctly. So when you feel tired, respond with perseverance. When you feel confused, respond with prayer. When you feel delayed, respond with gratitude. When you feel pressure, respond with discipline. When you feel tempted to quit, respond with commitment, because your response is shaping your future in real time. Some of you are closer than you realize, but you're letting frustration talk louder than faith. Some of you are right at the edge, but you're allowing impatience to interrupt progress. Don't let a temporary feeling cost you a permanent reward. You don't need perfect conditions. You need a decided heart. Choose faith over fear. Choose action over apathy. Choose gratitude over grumbling. Choose consistency over comfort. Every time you respond correctly, you move closer to what God already prepared for you. You don't attract what you want. You align with what you become. And when you start responding like the person you're becoming instead of reacting like the person you used to be, everything begins to shift. Your breakthrough is not waiting on circumstances. It's waiting on your response. Let's talk about something too many people overlook, and yet it's the most important factor in whether you succeed or stay stuck. The miracle starts inside you first. Before anything changes outside, something has to shift inside. Before your circumstances align, your mindset must align. Before doors open, your heart opens. God doesn't just change situations, He transforms people. That's why so many prayers feel delayed, because the breakthrough is not just external, it's internal. Most people want miracles without the transformation. They want the finances, the relationships, the promotion, the opportunity, without becoming the person who can handle them. But you cannot receive what you're not ready for. The external world responds to the internal world. Your thinking shapes your actions. Your actions determine your results. Your results determine your destiny. Everything begins on the inside. That's why God allows seasons that feel frustrating, why He allows waiting, silence, pressure, and testing. Those seasons aren't random. They are spiritual workshops. They are refining fires. They are character-building laboratories. While you're standing there wondering why the breakthrough hasn't come, God is shaping your mindset, stretching your patience, strengthening your faith, and training your heart to handle more than you could before. The miracle isn't simply about the situation changing, it's about you changing first. Because if your heart, your mind, your spirit aren't prepared, the miracle can actually become a problem. Imagine being given a huge financial blessing without wisdom. Imagine being placed in a leadership role without humility. Imagine being suddenly elevated without patience or integrity. That's not blessing, that's disaster. God is preparing you for what He is about to release. You see, what you focus on internally determines what manifests externally. If your mind is full of fear, the breakthrough will be delayed. If your heart is full of doubt, the doors won't fully open. If your spirit is not aligned with God's principles, the answers won't last. That's why inner transformation is non-negotiable. That's why the first step in every breakthrough is internal work. Renewing your mind, shaping your heart, developing faith, and embracing obedience. You can have every strategy in the world, every opportunity lined up, and every resource available, but if you haven't shifted internally, you will miss it. Your breakthrough is designed to match your maturity. You are being stretched so that when the miracle arrives, you can handle it, steward it, and multiply it. God is not in a hurry to give you what you can't sustain. He is in the process of making you ready for what you prayed for. Sometimes the internal work is uncomfortable. Sometimes it requires letting go of old habits, old thinking, old attachments, and old ways of responding. Sometimes it requires faith when you can't see, obedience when it's inconvenient, and trust when it's uncertain. This is the invisible work. This is the spiritual growth that precedes visible results. This is why patience is not passive, it's purposeful. Every challenge you face is part of this internal internal preparation. Every delay is a lesson in faith. Every trial is a training ground for endurance. Every obstacle is a way to strengthen your mindset. You are being equipped from the inside out so that when the external breakthrough happens, it doesn't overwhelm you. You don't just receive, you thrive. You don't just survive, you expand. And here's the most important part. You have to cooperate with this process. Internal transformation requires intentionality. You have to feed your mind with truth, not fear. You have to guard your heart against bitterness and frustration. You have to speak life over your situation, even when it looks impossible. You have to trust the process and align your actions with faith, not impulse. Miracles are drawn to prepared hearts. So stop looking outside first. Stop expecting the external to shift before the internal is ready. Stop trying to force results without allowing transformation. The miracle starts inside. The breakthrough begins with your mindset. The victory starts with your heart. The alignment starts with your faith. The shift starts with your obedience. Everything else flows from there. When the inside is ready, the outside begins to follow. When your heart, mind, and spirit align with God's plan, doors open that you didn't even know existed. Opportunities appear that you didn't even imagine. Resources flow in ways that seem supernatural. And the breakthrough is not just a one-time event. It becomes a lifestyle of favor, wisdom, and increase. If you want your life to change, you have to start internally. If you want to see God move, you have to let God move in you first. That's the secret too many people miss. Transformation is the foundation. Change within produces change without. Faith, patience, obedience, humility, and gratitude prepare the soil for your miracle. The miracle starts inside you first, and everything else will follow.